Ready? Yeah. All right. So through, Dr. Williams, through this discussion that we've had from our bell ringer, okay, obviously would go on probably a little bit more. Like I was just telling my class, this could literally last 2 days with us. But within this discussion, we would be able to hit the definition of culture, which the book definition, I would have them write this down. You don't really have to do it, okay? Is the beliefs, customs, and attitudes of a distinct group of people, which we know that even domestically, right? You have somebody from New York like me who speaks a certain way or believes a certain thing because I didn't grow up where I had to drive, whereas the kids here in Miami, they need a ride from their parents wherever they go, whether it's to the mall or to the park or whatever the case may be. Even domestically, we have distinct cultures, right? But as their minds grow, they realize that it's global, okay? I mean, we have kids here from Cuba, Puerto Rico, Haiti, Dominican Republic, and they all understand that even within the Hispanic culture, there are several countries and several different cultures and so forth. So they have a pretty good understanding of that. So we would go over the definition of culture, diversity, business etiquette, right? They're well versed in diversity, but business etiquette is something they may not know. So as I referenced that in class, I would have them write down the definition of business etiquette, which is conduct that is considered socially acceptable in business, right? But then again, I would tie that in, that business etiquette is also different wherever, basically even from company to company, not necessarily from culture to culture. Okay, you might have a Muslim culture where a woman has to cover her face, and that's socially acceptable within business, or where a woman cannot be at the negotiating table, right? Or it might be a business etiquette where it has nothing to do with discrimination at all, where it's a very lax environment where you don't even have to wear a shirt and tie to the office. It all depends. We would go into that. We would go into stereotyping, which again, the kids are very well versed in that. Corporate culture. Okay, again, it's just an even more, how can I say, more magnified view of culture where it has to do just simply with that particular business or that particular entity. Okay, the definition of corporate culture would be the shared values, beliefs, and goals of a company. Okay, so I'm assuming, I've never worked for Nike, but if it's just do it, I'm assuming that they're a go-getting culture and they will just try to nail out their goals, no matter the steps needed. Okay, and then we go over the baby boom generation, hierarchy, discrimination, bureaucracy, and ageism. But in terms of one day's class, I assume that we probably stop somewhere around corporate culture. Okay. I'm one to always try to tie politics into things, so what I would do, instead of having a guest speaker like I did in my other class, I would probably have them watch a video on North Korea. It's something that they have watched in their other classes, and I've watched as well personally, where they see how politics and the difference between a market and command economy affect, one, their culture within their country, along with their corporate culture as well, because of how they basically worship their great leader in North Korea. So I would have them watch that, okay, and have them brainstorm together. Excuse me, maybe individually, I'm not sure, or within groups of two, and to write a paper, write a reflection paper based on how the culture has seeped into their business etiquette, maybe their stereotyping of North Americans, as well as to their corporate culture. Okay? All right. What's that? Thank you. All right. So, assessments, right? Again, this is a pretty heavy bell ringer, so this is something that I would collect and grade. I would definitely, again, with such a hotbed topic, I would definitely mark in my grade book how many times a certain person would have raised their hand, maybe put a star next to them if they had something really profound to say, grade that as well. I would grade their response to the North Korea DVD that they would watch together, of course, that I would introduce, and to see how much they were able to melt, how their culture has affected their corporate culture and so forth. Okay, and I would definitely have a homework assignment for them. If you see, I only have one computer in my class, which is at my desk, so I don't have any student computers right now. We're a first-year school. So I would definitely assign them a country that has a distinct culture that may have to do with discrimination, have them report the corporate culture there or the business etiquette that's acceptable in those particular countries, and have them bring that in and present, and I would also use that as an assessment as well. Okay. Some other things that we have covered in this class in terms of discrimination, excuse me, in terms of how employment law is in business, right? Maybe we would talk about a little bit about outsourcing, about why Apple, like on the back of the iPhone, it says designed in California, made in China. We can talk a little bit about outsourcing and talk about how do we accept that. Okay, we can talk about the 40-hour work week, which would just be kind of a review on previous chapters, the 40-hour work week that had been implemented back in the early 1900s. We can talk about minimum wage and the differences from state to state, and the difference between a minimum wage and a living wage. Again, that would be more review. And then we can also talk about how the anti-discrimination laws from 1964, which make it illegal to discriminate discriminate in the workplace based on race, gender, culture, national origin, religion, and so forth. Okay, so we definitely review those things. In terms of my accommodations, I'm kind of stubborn with that. I like to have my ESOL students next to me. Again, Lysandra barely speaks any English. She's from Cuba. Okay, just got here a couple of weeks ago, and then she'll be sitting next to William, again, Cuban American, that can translate from me very quickly and on the fly, where she won't really get lost. And then I have my ESE students here, Malik, Rock, and Gabby. They'll be able to work together. I kind of like to pair them together and have them produce work. Again, another thing that I can do is I give them alternate assignments, more time on exams. Okay, those are the kind of accommodations that I'd like to make. I'm very lecture heavy, so in terms of modeling and overpronouncing my words for the ESOL students is something I don't have a problem with at all. Okay, so that's what I would be doing in terms of my assessments. In terms of enrichment, okay, I like to give the advanced students, the ones that get finished with their work earlier, a lot of open-ended assignments. Okay, so one open-ended assignment I could give them, okay, is to take a step further on their presentation in terms of the country that they would be researching. Of course, they're going to do a write-up, and I would tell them, look, state the country, population, the president, maybe the religious background of the country, and the laws and how they differ from our laws here in the United States, okay? The next step up that I can have them do, being in the 8th and 9th grade, is maybe have them do some kind of a poster board. In my career research class a few weeks back, we were going over labor laws. And one of the labor laws that some of the kids decided to present was the Equal Pay Act of 1963. So it would be a poster board somewhat of this size, illustrated, obviously showing, you know, that they took the time on it, right? And I would obviously grade it on a rubric based on the complexity of it and the completeness of it, obviously. So it would be something like this in terms of the corporate culture and maybe some stereotypes that exist within the country that they chose. All right. So that's the assessments I would do for this class period and over this subject matter over the week.